It's dropped off. My entry to the East Cobb Quilt Show has officially been dropped off, and I am all excited about it. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ, coming into my sewing room. Work was a little insane this week. It was a short week because of the holiday, but we still seem to always have to do that whole 6 days of work in each week. I managed to somehow survive it. Yesterday, Riley celebrated her fourth birthday. Yeah, my little girl is 4. It seems like yesterday when I adopted her or she got me and all that other stuff. She got to have a lot of treats and extra walks and belly rubs. She enjoyed the day immensely. Percy also yesterday, not a birthday, but he went for his monthly arthritis injection. I Because work has been crazy, I didn't get a chance to get it done earlier this week. I called them yesterday after my live and said, "Hey, do you have any appointments?" And they said, "Well, we have an appointment at 12:30," and it was like 12:07. I was like, "So you're telling me if I can get Percy into his carrier and up to your office, he can get his shot today?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I got Percy in his carrier, and I was there by probably about 20 after, quarter after, something like that, maybe 12:18. And they were like, "How did you get here so quickly?" I was like, one, it's easy to get Percy in his carrier sometimes when I sneak up on him. And two, the vet clinic is literally around the corner. It's like 3.5 miles away. So it's not like it's that far. He did not enjoy being at the vet, but he is doing a bit better today with his movement because, that's supposed to reduce some of this inflammation and stuff. In my sewing room, it was kind of quiet. Last week, I had set a goal to have my quilt, what is that word? Hanging sleeve, and the alternate label on so that everything was ready. On Monday, I spent the day or morning really hand stitching the hanging sleeve on. That was kind of interesting because I know that it's a temporary hanging sleeve, but my mind kept doing my standard stitch, which is a pretty tight, pretty hidden stitch. And I'm like, no, no, no. These can be sloppy, these can be messy because these are going to be ripped out. But yeah, just I just kept going back and forth into these are good stitches. I'm like, no, 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 I need to do quick stitches, good stitches, quick stitches. Same thing with my label. The label that I have put on my quilts have just basically my name and the year on it. I didn't have a name for this quilt until I entered it into the show. So yeah, that wasn't sitting on there, so I had to basically create a label for it. Initially, I was going to take my Sharpie, which I thought was right here. I must put it back into the drawer and just write on the a scrap piece of fabric to put on there. But then I realized I have a whole bunch of decorative stitches that I never get to use on my sewing machine. So I went through the menus, I found the letters, and I did what the the show requires. I had it type out my name, I had it type out the name of the quilt, and I did again another quick stitch of that where I was going back and forth between good stitches and fast stitches, good stitches and fast stitches. So yeah, it was fun trying to get that in there. I got the pillowcase and everything, and it was all ready. And this afternoon, I officially dropped it off at the Civic Center so they can do their thing. I got to see a friend of mine, actually, the friend who conned me into actually entering the quilt, or entering a quilt. She didn't tell me which quilt to enter. So, yeah, I got to see her. She was in my section for drop offs. The only thing that I know is I believe let's see, my little drop off notice, because this is my collection thing. It says that my location is F9. So I don't know if that means that is the aisle and number where my quilt is, or whether that's where they're going to be putting it when it gets taken down Saturday evening. I don't know, but that's all I have. There's going to be a reception on Wednesday evening where they're going to be presenting the awards, and also we get a sneak peek at all of the quilt show. So I'm going to be excited to take a look at all of those and everything. Because the drop off was today, I didn't have to shift my schedule around. So I'm going to be working from home Wednesday and hopefully getting out as early as I can to get myself ready for the show. One amusing thing. Yesterday, I grabbed Chinese for dinner. My fortune cookie had 3 fortunes in it. And while I was reading the fortunes, I definitely wasn't thinking about the quilt show. What did the fortunes say, you ask? Look for those in the scenes from the week. Yesterday, though, for my Elevensies, I worked on this pattern called Penny Candy. It was in one of the Fort Worth Fabric Studio subscription boxes, probably February, because the fabric is all hearts. Could have been January to have a project ready for February. I don't remember because the months kind of run together. What I did on my live was basically snowball each of the blocks. It requires 2 snowballs on the blocks before you put it together. So I did that. There was a few questions about, how are you going to do this so that everything comes together nicely? Because if you know me, I love when seams nest together, and I love, trying to get things as little bulk as possible. So I looked at the pattern. There are no pressing instructions in here. It just basically says stitch and flip. So in my live, I gave the reason why I decided that I was going to press my stuff the way that I pressed it. And then there was also another question about, how will we make sure that everything lines up perfectly to get our seams? So I gave an interesting tip on how I get my my stitch and flips to always line up. And the little tip I will tell you is I don't worry about it when I stitch here. I just try to make sure that I am on the waist side of the line, and then when I go to flip, I will line the 2 corners up and press them in there so that there may be a little bit of a lip here, depending on how close you are to the line, but you will always guarantee to have a perfect seam line here. And you could also do the same thing if you're trying to press your seams the other direction. You just line everything up first, get your seam line, and then basically flip the seam. So that's my little trick. I go in through a little bit more detail in my live. And if we need a little bit more detail on how I do my stitch and flip method, I may put out a special Russ's Weird Stitch and Flip Method video if I can get some good camera setup just to show everything. But yeah, that was pretty good. This coming Saturday, I will be continuing the Penny Candy series, and we will piece all of the blocks together and hopefully get the borders on to have another completed table runner. I've been on a bit of a table runner kick. It's been fun, but it's just I have projects and I want to get some of these projects just moving, even though I have other projects over here that need to get moving. I need a few more palette cleansers, I feel like. my goals, I think it's going to be another quiet week. I have a dentist appointment tomorrow, which is probably going to eat into some of my time here in the evening, just so I can spend more time with Riley and Percy and stuff. And like Wednesday evening, I'm attending the quilt show festivities, and then Saturday after my live, I'm going to be doing a full event at the quilt show so I can see all the quilts, because there's no way I'll have a chance to see all the quilts on that, like hour and a half session Wednesday evening. So yeah, and I want to get some good pictures, because I want to say, this is what you missed, because I sent out an email to all my coworkers, and most of them are like, yeah, can't go. I'm like, okay, this is what you missed. So it's going to limit the time that I have in here. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to try to plan on doing anything. The only thing I actually officially have planned is Saturday morning for my Elevensies. We will be working on getting these blocks put together into the table runner. And if you are joining along with me, would love for you to come with me on Saturday morning and get it all sewn together. But that's probably all I'll have time to do before I start planning next week's vlog. So we will see what happens. Hopefully I can get some additional time in here, whatever happens. I think that's going to be about it for today's video. You guys are rock stars for listening to me ramble on about my weekly shenanigans. If you wouldn't mind giving the YouTube algorithm just a little bit of love, I'd greatly appreciate it, as it helps the channel grow some. You can do that by commenting on this video, liking it, smacking that subscribe button upside its head, or, giving your little fur kids a little bit of love in my. If you ring that bell icon next to the subscribe button, you will be notified when I go live on Saturday mornings or when I upload my weekly vlogs. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.